I'm digital artist Aaron Rutten, and this is another episode of Starving Artist Stories. In this episode, we're going to be talking about the hustle, and no, I'm not talking about the popular dance from the 70s. I'm talking about making money, paying bills, eating food, all that good stuff. Depending on who you ask, hustling can mean all kinds of different things. Calling someone a hustler might be a compliment, or it might be a really bad insult. But the hustling that we're referring to today has to do with finding ways to be resourceful and make money when you have none. And I hustled a lot. I don't mind being called a hustler. I didn't have any money. I was broke, and yes, I wanted to be an artist, and I had a small set of skills that I could use to make money, such as drawing commissions and things like that. But if I would have only done that, I wouldn't have been able to get by, so I had to hustle. I had to find other things to do. At this point in my starving artist career, I still had a part-time day job, but I was kind of phasing out of that more or less. But even with that part-time day job and then the work I was doing on the side, I still was barely getting by. I was not making a whole lot of money, and it was kind of challenging at the end of each month trying to pay rent and bills and have food and stuff like that. So what I did is I decided I needed to make more money. How am I going to make more money? I need to learn more skills, but am I going to go to college? No, because college costs money. I can't even go to, take a few night classes or anything like that because I just don't have the money or the time to do that. So what can I do? I can teach myself skills using YouTube, using online tutorials. There's all kinds of free ways that you can teach yourself web design, graphic design. You could teach people how to do what you've learned how to do, and you could be an educator. So there's a lot of things that you can teach yourself for free without having to go to college, without having to spend money. Even if those things are not exactly what you want to be doing, they're a lot more closely related to your end goal than, let's say, the day job I had, which was furniture moving. Furniture moving in no way related to drawing or being an artist. It was very, very far away from that. And it distracted me from making art. It made me tired, it made me drained, it made me depressed. I didn't like that job. But if I was doing graphic design was not that much different from making art. And so in a way, I was still making art for a lot of the graphic design projects. I was just doing more layouts and logos and things like that, but it was still art. I still got to be creative and I still got to get my work out there. And on top of that, I started to make some extra money doing graphic design. I started to make some extra money doing web design. And when I couldn't get an illustration gig or I couldn't get a graphic design gig, there was a web gig or there was a logo gig. Or there was eventually teaching gigs once I learned how to do a lot of stuff. Then I started to teach people or do consultation and things like that. So if somebody had a question about how to use Adobe Photoshop, there aren't very many people in the area who will teach you how to do that one-on-one, but I will. So let's meet up and we'll go to a coffee shop, we'll sit down on your laptop. You can ask me whatever questions about Photoshop you have and I'll walk you through that. And I helped so many people one-on-one figure out their problems. And I didn't have to go to school to do that. All I had to do was know more than that person knew in order to be able to help them, and they were happy to pay me for my time. And I quickly found the more things I learn, the more skills I'm capable of doing, the more money that I can make, the more sustainable my income can be. So as I mentioned earlier, I taught art lessons one-on-one, I did website design, I did layouts, I did clothing design, I did graphic design, I did logos, photography, image editing, consultation, illustration, portraits, packaging, layouts, mock-ups. I mean, I did a lot of different things, and they were things that I didn't know how to do starting out. I had to learn how to do them, but honestly, they're not all that hard to do. Once you kind of know how to design, you can design a lot of different things. There's usually templates for a particular product. If somebody wants you to design a cereal box, there's a cereal box template. So all you have to do is just arrange things and make them look nice. Sure, you have to know about typography, but you can learn about typography. Sure, you have to learn about color, but you can learn about color. All of these things you can learn through tutorials for free. You can also learn a lot by making your own designs that you're not going to sell or do anything with. They're just for practice, and you can learn through trial and error as well. Now, the other element of this is that I was willing to advertise what I can do, and the skills that I learned from making graphic design projects, I could also use for my own benefit to make my own graphics to promote my business and my own website to promote the skills that I have. And that helped me get more business. I built a portfolio, I put it on a website, I advertised the website, and then I used a website called Craigslist. I don't know if people really use it that much anymore, but that's a good way to advertise your skills for free. And at the time when I was doing it, there were enough people looking for graphic design projects to where I'd get graphic design projects and other types of projects all the time. It was enough to start making a living off of. And it grew into the point to where I could become a full-time artist and quit my day job. Now, I live in Seattle, and so Seattle is a really, really big city. It's kind of a tech-oriented city, so there's a lot of need for people like me. And there were a lot of other people advertising, so it's not like I was the only one advertising those services, but there were so many more people looking for those services that there was enough work to go around for everyone. And honestly, a lot of the clients who I did work for said that they preferred to work one-on-one with someone like me rather than have to go to a design firm and have to jump through all those hoops and not really get that one-on-one support. I've also been surprised to find that there's, world famous artists out there who needed help with Corel Painter, and there was absolutely nobody on Craigslist, and even when they searched online, they weren't able to find somebody who would teach them one-on-one Corel Painter. I actually had a student fly in from Qatar, which is in the Middle East, to come study with me one-on-one, because he said he couldn't find anywhere in the world where he went somebody who would teach him Corel Painter one-on-one in the way that he wanted. So if I had never put myself out there, if I had never tried to do something that I wasn't comfortable doing, I would have never gotten those opportunities. If I didn't go out on a branch and try to be an educator and try to teach people the things that I know, I wouldn't be talking to you today in this YouTube video. So while hustling was something that needed to fill an immediate need, which was paying rent and having food to put in my stomach, it eventually evolved into something that helped me develop a lot of skills that are now very, very beneficial for me to have, because I'm not only an artist, I'm a person who can advertise my art, I can create my website, I can do graphic design for myself, I can educate others, I can provide consultation, and branching out has just been one of the best things I've ever done for my career. Now, I have moved pretty far away from my original vision of myself as an artist, which was just to be an artist and make art and, sell art in galleries, but you know what? I started to realize that that was a model that I didn't need to follow. I can start my own path, and I can do whatever it is that I need to do or whatever I want to do, and I don't have to follow that traditional artist model. Just as well, I have discovered in having done a lot of graphic design work that I don't like graphic design. I mean, it's okay, I would rather go back to doing graphic design than moving furniture for sure, but it just stresses me out too much, and I don't like to be told how to make my art and things like that. So graphic design is something that I've almost entirely phased out. There's still a few clients that I have who I like to work with who I'll do things for occasionally, but it doesn't take up too much of my time anymore. Now I'm just focusing on making art and showing people how to enjoy art and learn about art, and that feels a lot better to me than just being self-centered and selling my art in galleries. I feel like that only benefits me, and maybe some people get to look at some nice looking artwork, but I'd rather help people enjoy art on the same level that I enjoy it. That feels like it has a lot more of an impact. Another thing I did in addition to hustling is I also set up some passive income streams. One of the first things that I tried was selling stock images. You just upload your artwork to a website and people can download it to use in websites or magazines, or there's specific terms that you can get into, but basically it's a good way to make money off of art that's already on your hard drive. And so I had some things like that that kind of earned a little bit of money in between the hustle gigs, which also helped to supplement my income. Now, I don't want to over-glorify the hustle. The hustle is awesome, it's great to hustle, and it's great to be able to just pull money out of thin air. It's a great feeling, especially when you come from being broke and all the money that you make is kind of dangled over your head, and it's like, it's up to your boss to give you hours, and then you hope that you get those hours so that you get work. The hustle's different. The hustle's like, I'm gonna find money, I'm gonna create opportunities, and I'm gonna get that money, and that's up to me. And if I'm holding myself back, that's my problem. And if I do something about that and I stop holding myself back, then I'm going to be able to get what I want. But it is also hard work. It's just like having a job. Because I'd go out the night before and I'd stay up late, and then the next morning I'd be really tired and I'd have to travel by bus because I didn't have a car because I was still broke, several hours to go to another city to teach a one-on-one lesson, which I really enjoyed, but it was still very, very difficult, and it still felt very much like a job. And there was a lot of stress involved with having to constantly find work and then having to feel like you're worried that you're not going to get work for a week or for a month, and then you don't know what you're going to do, because at that point you're on your own, you're creating money, you're creating opportunity, and you don't have anyone else to give that to you or to guarantee that to you. And so if you let your fire fizzle out and you don't get any more work, then you're not going to eat, you're not going to be able to pay rent, and then you're going to have to go find another job, and that's really risky, to go from being self-employed to then not having any income and then having to go find a job. Fortunately, I didn't get to that point, because I always made sure to stay afloat because I knew that I could. So there you go, those are my thoughts on the hustle element of being a starving artist. Hopefully this information will help you move from being a starving artist to a well-fed artist. If you were motivated by this information, go on over to patreon.com/AaronRutten and join me on my mission to create more free resources for digital artists. And if you're new to my channel, make sure to click that subscribe button. I have a lot more videos for digital artists like you. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.